Welcome to LFC Transfer Hub. Arne Slot explains how Jeremy Frimpong could have made major difference to Liverpool's season. Having spent much of the season in danger of being thrown to them, Arne Slot begins a week with Wolves this evening. And the Liverpool boss will hope familiarity breeds contentment during a double-header against the Midlands side that could have a major bearing on shaping the remainder of his team's season. With an FA Cup fifth-round tie to come on Friday, first comes a Premier League clash against a team that, while rock-bottom and with little hope of survival, have shown signs of rediscovering their bite in recent weeks. A dramatic 2-2 draw with Arsenal and last Friday's 2-0 win over near rivals Aston Villa were further evidence of the revival under Rob Edwards that has seen Wolves lose only 4 of their last 13 games, having previously been beaten 12 times in a row in all competitions. Liverpool, of course, have been on their own journey to recovery after a harrowing autumn, with the weekend 5-2 home win over West Ham United moving them on to just 2 defeats in 21 and knocking on the door of the top 4. Wolves were narrowly beaten 2-1 at Anfield over Christmas when Florian Wirtz's first Liverpool goal shortly before halftime ultimately proved decisive. While Wirtz remains absent with a back problem that is likely to rule him out of both this week's games, the Reds were bolstered on Saturday by the return of Jeremy Frimpong as a late substitute after a month out with a groin problem. Frimpong gave further example of his effectiveness down the right, with his cross forcing West Ham's Alex Disasi to put through his own goal for Liverpool's 5th. Against Wolves in December, the Holland international was making only his 2nd Premier League start when he assisted Ryan Gravenberch for the opener. And Slot admits that Frimpong managing just 20 outings this season has been a major setback for a Liverpool attacking revamp that last summer centred on injecting pace into the front line. Jeremy has shown every time he comes in that when you face low blocks, how important pace is, said Slot. I can tell you, the moment you don't face low blocks and the moment you face teams who line up further away from goal, then pace becomes probably even more important. Pace in modern football, apart from being really strong at set pieces, is crucial. Not that I needed it because I knew it, but Paris Saint-Germain were a great example last season of pace when it comes to the forwards to win the Champions League from open play and be creative. I thought that was something we could add to this team and what we've tried to do. But unfortunately, we've only been able to use one player we signed who has a lot of pace in our front 3, and that is Hugo Ekitike. Alex Isak has been mainly injured, and Jeremy hasn't played a lot of minutes in the Premier League. That's why I always keep on saying that you see progress with us, but what if all these players are fit? This club is in a very good place because we signed so many good players in the summer. Liverpool could go temporarily 3rd with a 3-goal victory this evening, with fellow top 4 rivals Aston Villa and Chelsea facing off tomorrow at Villa Park, while 3rd place Manchester United are at Newcastle United. And Slot believes his players deserve credit for transforming their season given the travels of earlier in the campaign. Maybe it is something we didn't want when we started the season, but to play for the position we have to play for now, I think it's maybe a compliment to the players, said the Reds boss. Taking into account all the things that have happened, I have to compliment them for the fact that they stayed fit. Most of them constantly stay fit, because I've said a few times already that when things go against you or things don't go that well and you are losing, usually you see teams building up their injury record a lot, because that's how the mental part plays a part in football, in staying fit. That is a compliment to our performance staff and to our players that we could have kept them, apart from the long-term injuries, fit and able to perform, which we did not with the best consistency we could, but still in a way that we can now compete for the things we want to compete for. Second news is Liverpool have undersold themselves, but new target is there for the taking before Wolves double. 2 games in 3 days against the same opposition away from home in different competitions makes this a very unusual week for Liverpool. But there's one thing Arne Slot's side are going to have to do regardless. Wolves may be rock bottom of the Premier League, but they are a team that is most definitely on the up, even if it's almost certainly too late to keep them in the top flight. I watched them get a point against Arsenal and then beat Aston Villa, and they are very much up for the fight. And Liverpool are going to have to match that. It is going to be a scrap, and we are going to have to get stuck in. If we go there with the attitude we showed at Sunderland recently, we won't have any problems. We need to win our individual duels, and then our better quality should take care of the game. But if we repeat what happened in the first half against Nottingham Forest, then we are going to have two very long evenings. Both games are vitally important. The release last week of Liverpool's accounts highlighted the importance of the Champions League, and it would be a nightmare if we don't qualify. Things are so tight between 3rd and 6th now, but we have got ourselves in a good position to get the job done. We are 3 points ahead of Chelsea, and they still have to come to Anfield and have some very tough games, and that's an advantage we won't want to let slip. Finishing 3rd should now be our aim, and that's probably where we should be at this moment in time. Manchester United aren't better than us, and neither are Aston Villa nor Chelsea, but we have undersold ourselves this season an awful lot. We'd accept finishing 4th or 5th, but really we have to now be targeting 3rd place behind Arsenal and Manchester City. Then comes the FA Cup game on Friday at Wolves. That competition is now incredibly important as it can give us silverware to play for during the last weeks of the season. We aren't in a position to rotate too much, and I'd like to think in any case Slot has learned from what happened at Plymouth Argyle last season. A lot of this squad have had experience of playing and winning a cup final at Wembley. It is brilliant, and that should be driving them on once again. Cody confidence restored. Confidence is a genuine thing with strikers, so it will have done Cody Gakpo a world of good to get his goal against West Ham United on Saturday. Gakpo will be the first to admit he has had a disappointing season, having been so important in helping Liverpool win the Premier League last year. He hasn't been the only one, but when you're not scoring goals, it plays on your mind, just like with Mohamed Salah at present. I've said before that when you're off form as a striker, the goal can look smaller and the goalkeeper bigger. And when you're on song, it is the other way around, and everything is a lot more simple. Hopefully Gakpo will find things more simple from now.